Well, Statistics South Africa has released April figures showing a huge improvement in the number of tourism arrivals compared with the same period in 2021. In June, the remaining COVID-19 regulations were dropped, which may well predict even higher numbers for the next quarter. We're joined now by Thandiwe Mathibela, General Manager for PR at South African Tourism. Thandiwe, good evening to you. What kind of figures are you seeing? How big is the bounce back in our tourism market?
Good evening, Stephen, and good evening to your viewers at home. We are so encouraged by the numbers that we're seeing. We know that just in the month of April of 2021 versus April 2019, we've seen about 143% increase in the number of tourists that have actually come to South Africa. When you compare between January and April 2020 versus the same period this year, we've seen an increase of about 162%. So we are really encouraged, and we know that we can attribute this to quite a few factors, including obviously the lifting of whatever remaining COVID-19 related regulations that we had, including the actual cost of PCR tests, because we know that tourists were quite discouraged by having to pay for PCR tests. And so it is very encouraging, the numbers that we're seeing.
Are there particular sectors that are having a big increase than others? I would imagine that Cape Town, for various reasons, may be a little bit more attractive than Durban.
We know what travelers are looking for, and we know that travelers from various parts of the world look for different things. So from a European side, certainly they are attracted to the Western Cape itself, and of course Cape Town is very iconic. But we know that people are actually looking for different experiences now. Now people are wanting more wide open spaces because they've felt so contained for such a long time because of COVID restrictions. So people are now still looking for safari. They're still looking to see our quality wildlife, but they also are wanting to experience new things. So overall, people are looking for renewed experiences that can energize them.
Are you seeing the same in domestic tourism? And I know it can be difficult to say, maybe you need to wait for a few more school holidays to know, but I think people are really feeling the pressure on their wallets at the moment. So are we, the domestic market, is it actually still holding up?
The domestic market is really holding up well, and I'd like to just thank all the South Africans that heeded the call to actually explore and travel and enjoy their own country when they actually couldn't go anywhere else. And I'm hoping that the South Africans will continue to explore their country because there's still so much more to see. But just to give you an idea in terms of the performance, between January and April 2022 versus the same period last year, we've seen 2.2 million domestic holiday trips. And that is a huge increase of about 281%. Just obviously speaking to the fact that South Africans have been so hungry to actually get out there and travel, Of course, the impact of fuel prices will really hit the sector hard because we know that our domestic market is quite price sensitive. And because we know that travel is not necessarily an essential expenditure, people will tend to not travel, but rather focus their expenditure to something that's more immediate, like food and clothes. So we know that the price hikes are definitely going to affect our numbers domestically.
What are your predictions for going into the Christmas season? And I think some people in Cape Town would have thoroughly enjoyed a Christmas where they could move around in their own city without bumping into people from Europe. I don't know if that's going to happen this time. They may have to share it a little bit.
Yeah, definitely they will definitely need to share it a little bit. And South Africans are also quite warm and welcoming people. So I know as much as they enjoyed the bit of freedom that they had, they're also quite ready to open their arms and welcome the rest of the world because it's actually much needed injection to our economy. Also because across the world, people everywhere are looking to go out and travel, again, due to the COVID-19 restrictions that actually just showed how quickly it can all be taken away. So because it's summer season here in South Africa come December, we definitely are going to be sharing our country with a whole lot more visitors and tourists.
Thandiwe Mathibela, thank you, General Manager for PR at South African Tourism. Do appreciate the time. Lots